Stop reading further because the purported royal couple in hip-hop has just turned into the messiest soap opera you've ever seen. Picture this. A symbol of strength and devotion, Remy Ma is now lying flat on a hospital bed not because magic or music stresses her out, but because her husband Papoose decided to make fun of her in front of everyone. This is the really bad part. He did not only walk away. The boxing champion Claressa Shields' punch had the power to destroy careers and marriages, and he walked straight into her arms. What caused the funeral of Remy's pride to be broadcast live on Black love goals? What happens when you publicly renew your vows and then desert your wife like a mixtape no one asked for? Intimate dinners in Vegas, screenshot dumps, and even a tattoo disclosure that is more directly betraying than any diss track could possibly be are all topics of fan speculation. The pressure reportedly broke Remy in unexpected ways, anticipating directly into the emergency department. Was this just sadness? Or was there a darker plot brewing up there? And that's the real question. Stay right here as we drop the receipts. They'll burn hotter than any boxing glove. Now, let's take a look back. Remember when everyone said Remy Ma and Papoose were the epitome of Black love? Yes, absolutely. The same pair who gave a performance about how strong and unbreakable they were and that they would ride or die till the coffin dropped. Social media sites are flooded with romanticized interviews, anniversary photos, and those awkward comments about fidelity. Well, let's be truthful. The more you yell perfect couple, the more disgusting the reality beneath is in this field. Even worse than anyone could have guessed, this one is. Supporters thought there would be another boxing match. And that's when it all started. Vegas. With her hands bound up and her glistening robe, Claressa Shields, who bills herself as the greatest woman of all time and quote, steps out ready to take over the ring. However, at the moment, no one understood that she was doing more than simply fighting her foe. According to rumors, she was trying to get Papoose's attention. I can tell you that she did more than just win the match that night. When Claressa snuck backstage right after her victory while the cameras were still rolling, Papoose, according to anonymous sources, held her for a little too long and said something that made her smile widely. Fans grabbed a glimpse, but the media brushed it off. It was a friend who was encouraging, they said. They demanded a non-threatening gesture. Indeed, you are right. Conveniently, Clarissa's body is tattooed for 2 weeks thereafter. Papoose's initials were mysteriously inked on a tattoo. Coincidence? Could you please assist me? In our line of work, there are no coincidences. Throughout all of this, where had Remy Ma been? She was scrolling through her stream, feeling nauseous, even though she was watching the same films that we were all watching when we were at home. She knew absolutely nothing. Murmurs had haunted her for months. Hairdressers talked about secret dinners, drivers exchanged details about late-night pickups, and a hairdresser said she saw Papoose exiting a hotel lobby with Claressa and 2 others. However, Remy, being the independent person she is, tried to hide everything anyway. She kept spreading this powerful story about marriage and grinning in public because, heaven forbid, a monarch ever loses it. And then it happened. In front of cameras, admirers, and an industry that had previously praised their dedication, Papoose publicly deserted Remy. It was cold, humiliating, and vicious. No warning, no soft landing. He said, "I can't fake this anymore. Clarisse is my future. Do you recall? What if it came from the man who once vowed to stay by your side no matter what?" It lacked integrity and was hypocritical. Anyone would have been in a complete panic. She whirled. Minutes after that humiliating event, Remy was reportedly seen stumbling, breathing erratically, and holding her chest while her crew rushed to her aid. A mix of panic episodes and heartache. Making contact with paramedics was adequate in any case. Viewers witnessed Remy's hospitalization as they were still absorbing what Papoose had just witnessed. The internet went from being horrified to being indignant in a few seconds. Pray for gained popularity as #teen-killer trolls mocked her collapse with boxing glove emojis. But let's end it here. You ask, was this all prearranged? Did Claressa wait patiently for the perfect knockout? Well, not in the ring, but in Remy's life. Claressa's team allegedly put pressure on Papoose to come clean for weeks, threatening to disclose private photos if he didn't. Papoose himself, according to some, got tired of playing to different roles and made the most dramatic decision to leave. Whatever the truth, one thing is clear: the results were catastrophic. According to the physicians, Remy's health was stable but serious when she returned to the hospital. Doctors reported that she had severe dehydration and a dangerously high jump in blood pressure, which is a common sign of stress and guilt. The rumor community was already tearing her apart as the medical staff tried to stabilize her. Memes flooded the timelines. She was dragged as a result of her contempt for the signs. According to some, this was revenge for her alleged past indiscretions. She used to giggle about women pursuing her man in interviews, but these days she calls deaf. The internet was hard. In contrast, Papoose was located far from the hospital. But later that evening, he was spotted at a private celebration of Claressa's triumph. In stolen photos, he is seen holding a glass of champagne while Claressa leans against him. It looks like the two are a lottery-winning couple. The social media world went crazy. He was unable to host a party since he and his wife were actually in the hospital. Claressa had just helped ruin another woman's mental health, so how could she be happy about that? In their universe, optics is obviously irrelevant. The time spent creating their own narrative was excessive. Following Remy's hospitalization, the narrative's emphasis shifted to "was this all set up?" Theories started to surface. Did Chlor's public relations team have to pay Papoose? Was Remy's behavior in air oppressed because she was aware of the questionable business activities of Papoose? Rumor websites said that Remy had audio recordings, bank transfers, hotel bills, and receipts that showed the depth of Papoose and Chloe's connection, according to an unnamed friend. Before she could go public, however, she ended up in a hospital bed. Consider it a matter of convenient timing. This is the component that makes this scenario more complex than a straightforward love triangle. Whispers claim that industry insiders fear what Remy will reveal once she's well again. She allegedly harbors information that might ruin Papoose's reputation and Claressa's boxing enterprise. Suppose a chaotic scenario when entire fight contracts are cancelled, sponsors pull out, and sponsorships collapse. There's more to it than heartache. It's a type of financial conflict. But Remy was lying in a hospital bed right now. The outside cameras flashing, the world wondering whether she is a victim or an idiot. Despite the raging storm just behind them, Papoose and Claressa strode about as if they were the center of the dispute. And I can guarantee you that this storm will not end anytime soon. So, you're wrong if you think that a hospital stay and public dumping were the end result. It was just a precursor. Remy had just gotten out of the hospital when the internet collapsed like a volcano. The fans' tweets weren't all condolences. Answers were sought. What, in fact, was she poisoned? Claressa knew? The volume of questions surpassed the speed at which Remy's medical team could attach her to a monitor. It becomes heated at this point though. The public only witnessed chaos behind the scenes, while insiders were already exposing pieces of a puzzle more grotesque than anyone could have imagined. The video was shown first. Shaky, granular, and clearly taken on an individual's iPhone, but enough to scare them. The video captures the exact moment Remy stumbled at the public event. Papoose's cold voice can be heard in the background, saying, "It's over." She knows what it is. A few days later, the video became viral on all gossip websites, receiving millions of views. Some called it the funeral of black love. Some termed it the knockout, despite the fact that Claressa didn't have to throw. But there was one thing that could not be denied. The humiliation was not private anymore. It was disdainful. And then the screenshots showed up. To make matters worse, insiders said that Papoose and Claressa's purportedly leaked direct conversations were, "She's holding me back. You're my fresh start." Claressa's reply was a boxing glove emoji, which was followed by the words, "Then prove it." Numerous other communications, hotel bookings, secret flights, and even an enigmatic text that read, "Vag was worth the risk." Some suspected fraud, but the timing was too good. Papoose refused to comment, Claressa's camp stayed silent, and Remy's team desperately attempted to stop the fire. Social media didn't wait for official statements though. Twitter turned into a war zone on the internet. Both hashtag prayer for Remy and hashtag knockout love triangles were trending at the same time. Followers lambasted Claressa for breaking sisterhood rules, while other followers ridiculed Remy for ignoring warning signs. She not only wins battles but also spouses. The internet couldn't stand it. One meme featured Claressa holding her boxing belt with a caption, while another went viral with the phrase, "Remy went from terror squad to her squad in one night, brutal." Meanwhile, anonymous sources fanned the fire. One source, a purported stylist who worked with Remy, told bloggers she had a sneaking suspicion. "No one expected it to be this vicious, but she told us she was afraid he would make her look bad in public." Another purported family friend claimed that Papoose had been preparing the public split for weeks, rehearsing his lines like a rapper preparing for a fight. Or is it just a coincidence? But it went beyond whispers. Suddenly, financial documents appeared. Of course, they were extravagant, but interesting enough to keep the story going. False investigative reports claimed that Papoose had been funding Claressa's upcoming promotional events, including her next big fight. Not only was the public outraged, but they had something to do. Remy's family money was transferred straight into Claressa's boxing business. If it's true, that's economic sabotage disguised as love. On TikTok, there are a number of theatrical reenactments of the hospital collapse, and while their friends were posing as Papoose and whispering cold lines, fans played Remy fainting. Using the tagline "Black Love Season 2, Instagram accounts showed Claressa in wedding gowns next to Papoose, and YouTube reaction channels garnered millions of views by dissecting every second of the shaky video. This had progressed from mere rumors to pop culture money, and while online fans wept and laughed, the real repercussions were more sinister. Hospital staff reportedly revealed that Remy sobbed while saying the same thing, "How could he do this to me after everything?" According to one nurse, she refused to eat for 2 days and just made it through on for drips. A second whispered that because of the reputation they had built together, Remy ignored her family's entreaties to dissolve the marriage months earlier. Look it over. It was love that gave rise to branding. The union turned into a publicity stunt. It was at this point that melancholy became news. For his part, Papoose wasn't hiding. He stepped up. Photographers caught him leaving a club with Claressa on his arm. They were both dressed up, and they were smiling as if nothing had happened. When reporters shouted questions about Remy's condition, Papoose simply smiled and said, "She's strong. She'll bounce back." Cold, sly, and vile. It was more than just a breakup. There was no doubt that it was an execution. Even well-known individuals started to comment at this point. It is said that rapper Fat Joe unfollowed Papoose on Instagram after he posted an enigmatic story. Loyalty is the key. Others failed to notice it. Cardi B tweeted before she deleted it, "It's her fault." Nicki Minaj reportedly laughed on a live stream when someone brought up the incident, which led to rumors that longtime rivals were enjoying the fallout, according to a suspicious website. Politics in the workplace combined with personal betrayal. A rumor vulture's dream scenario. Here's the surprising twist though. An alleged health report leak. Insiders who want to remain anonymous claimed that Remy got more than just stress alleviation. Absolutely not. Her diagnosis, they said, was due to a stress-induced cardiac episode. The sound of those lovely words is like a little heart attack. It suggests that Papoose's public betrayal did more than just break her heart, if it is true. In fact, it nearly broke it. Unexpectedly, the scandal went beyond turbulent romantic partnerships. The matter was one of survival. However, rather than expressing sympathy, half of the internet instead made it into a circus. Using popular hashtags like #Jeremy and #CLarisAwin gave the impression that this was merely another competition to win. And maybe it was that which made it so warped. The distinction between genuine human suffering and fun was blurred. The morning after Remy was admitted to the hospital, there was no outpouring of grief. It stirred in the commotion. Every media had screaming headlines. "There is no more black love. Remy is now a hospital inpatient. Papoose maintains his way of life." Data now, Every photo, every timeline, and every questionable move was being closely examined by the media that had formerly praised the couple as the epitome of loyalty. As fans fought over whether Remy was a victim or mistaken, the business flew into a silent frenzy. There was more to it than a careless split, you see. This was a ticking time bomb, and the stakes were millions of dollars. The family man persona of Papoose has put a stop to endorsement agreements. The sponsorships Claressa had planned for her next big fight were suddenly questioned. As a result of their involvement in this debate, brands were reportedly extremely afraid that they would become the next big meme. Lawyers started to circle like vultures in the world of money and image because it is the kiss of death. Remy's team was preparing to file a divorce and emotional damages lawsuit against Papoose for his public humiliation stunt, according to named insiders. Look it over. Consider being evicted in a way that qualifies you for legal compensation. To be honest, in this circus, it almost made sense. Allegedly, Claressa's group employed crisis managers to rid the internet of shaky photos and offensive direct comments. By that time, though, the receipts had become so numerous that they could not be deleted. Then the government intervention rumors began to circulate. Does that sound crazy to you? But according to leaked sources, New York state regulators were looking into Claressa's sponsorship agreements to see if he was a symbol of Cleveland's incompetence and Dallas's need for show. The scandal was only made worse by uncertainty as each day passed. Then came the financial ramifications theories. Analysts estimate that Shatter's relocation to Dallas would cost the Browns millions in ticket and merchandise sales. One fake Wall Street Journal headline read, "Sander trade speculations cause Cleveland Browns stock to plunge." Not only were rival teams giggling, but the Sanders family was also in a panic. There were rumors that Shatter's mother, Pamela Sanders, became involved in the disturbance because she was angry with Cleveland's treatment of her son. Dion played coy as he always did. However, when he was seen smiling during a press conference and asserting that Dallas is capable, it sent shockwaves through the media. It was taken by supporters as proof that the Sanders family had already given their approval to the move after it was made. The NFL was compelled to pay attention. Can you imagine how many calls the league office would receive? Fans of the Browns who are furious demand explanations. Supporters of the Cowboys are interested in knowing when they can pre-order Sanders jerseys. Jerry has once again stolen the show, and rival business owners are furious. Goodell was concerned by the appearance and was considering a secret investigation into the situation, according to an unnamed league official. TikToks mocked Cleveland with captions like "draft talent," "hide talent," and "lose talent," "repeat yourself," as the internet turned into a barbaric place. An hour-long conspiracy video titled "The Sanders Trade Cover-Up: What Cleveland Doesn't Want You to Know" was created by YouTubers. ESPN and other mainstream media swayed the narrative by holding panels discussing Shatter's capacity to handle Dallas requests. The backlash was nationwide. All over it. It was picked up by foreign media. British sports shows joked, "Even we know Cleveland can't keep a quarterback, mate." One Spanish-speaking host compared it to selling Messi and misrepresenting it as a long-term plan. All of them felt humiliated. But Shatter himself was silent all the while. The silence itself became a plot feature. Those who follow wondering endlessly. Did he and his father conspire in secret? Did he feel too angry to speak? Or did he just let Cleveland make their own errors? Every second of silence made the fire stronger. The consequences of the affair started to turn into complete absurdity. The Browns transaction should be made during Sanders' administration, according to a lawmaker's tweet, drawing Ohio politicians into the dispute. This is a betrayal of the city. Because of this uncertainty, bookies have frozen odds on Cleveland games. Madden players rebelled, calling for the Cowboys to sign Pat Shatter from EA Sports. Worse rumors kept coming around. Dak Prescott and a number of draft picks were reportedly on the table for Dallas in order to acquire Shatter. Some thought that Jerry Jones may eventually offer Dion a coaching job to liven things up. It was mere conjecture. However, the facts didn't thing. It was an exceedingly meaty plot. The worst-case scenario for Cleveland was more than just losing Sanders. Dallas, the franchise most notorious for turning drama into a dynasty, was losing him. The Dallas Cowboys, who enjoy being in the spotlight and care more about show than touchdowns, are involved. It was also not a defeat if Shatter went there in the first place. Disgrace on the world's biggest stage. This is what made the controversy so harmful. Cleveland seemed to be a fool. Dallas, they appeared to be geniuses. Also, it seemed that the most valuable quarterback who was never given a chance was Shatter Sanders. The worst is yet to come. Fans were talking about more than football nowadays. The subject of discussion was legacy, on how the Sanders name, which was already legendary because of Diane, would have become impregnable if Shatter had acquired Dallas. Cleveland would once again be known as a team that couldn't get out of its own way by the conclusion of the week. Around the world, hashtags were widely used. The fallout from #FReader, #BrownsCurse, and #Sanders to Dallas was still going strong. The NFL was putting its brand in jeopardy. Dallas was always making headlines. Cleveland's lack of competence was visible to the entire globe. The trade rumor had become more than that. It was the biggest scandal the league has seen in a long time. Then comes the question, to which all are responding. Will the next great dynasty in Cowboys history begin? Or will Shatter Sanders' tenure in Cleveland come to an end? It's the cliffhanger, folks. We're here now. The Browns, their own catastrophe, have trapped them. The Cowboys surrounded Shatter Sanders like sharks as he stood in the middle of it all. There is more to this than just a trade rumor. This is about football's reputation for chaos, history, and pride. How do you feel? What if the reports were true? What would happen to the NFL? Is Jerry Jones really going to take any chances to get Shatter to Dallas? Is Diane Sanders going to watch him pull the strings from behind the curtain? What will happen to Andrew Berry if this backfires? Do we see him as the genius who tried to play the long game, or as the general manager who permanently obliterated the Sanders legacy? Even more startling is this. What about Shatter himself? Is he the latest quarterback to lose to Cleveland's curse? Or will he go on to represent America's team? Could the scandal affect the entire league? Or is the NFL's never-ending controversy just getting started? Please let me know what you think. Was the purpose of this arrangement always to be, or is it all smoke and mirrors to drive us all insane? I assure you that the conversation is only getting started, so please feel free to express your thoughts in the comments section. What follows will astound you if you thought this was crazy. Soon, there will be even more chaos, leaks, and rumors. So don't just scroll past. Press like on the button. Tell your friends about this madness and subscribe right now. It's the truth, and the next twist will only become more obvious if you don't pay attention.